Now, you've probably stumbled across this video because you are either looking to lose weight or because you are wanting to get fitter. Now, I have no professional or clinical expertise in either area. That is the first thing I have to say. I am a tailor in Scotland. So what am I doing giving advice on fitness and weight loss? The reason I think you should listen to me is because I am giving you the benefit of my honest experience from 51 years of life and stuff. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's not clinically structured. It's not, oh, there's micro this and there's it's none of the, I'm not going to try and baffle you with science. It's purely an observation. So give me 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It's an investment in your life. If you think I'm talking absolute rubbish, tell me that in the comments and leave me alone. We won't bother each other any further. If you think I'm making sense, give me a follow and we can carry on the journey together. How does that sound? Let's go right back. As a teenager, I was fitness daft. I would run and cycle and swim. I was in the cross-country running team. I played rugby, if you can believe that. Me playing rugby, it was a laugh, but it got me out and running, and I had so much energy to burn off. And I was thin. I've always been thin. And obviously, as you get older, your metabolism slows down and life takes over. And you stop exercising and you drop out the running, but you say, well, I'm still going cycling, or I'm still doing this, I'm still doing that. And you still pretend that you are burning off all of the calories that you're taking in. Anyway, over the years, the weight creeps on and your metabolism slows down. And before you know it, so I got married in 1994 when I was 10.5 stones. Now that was ridiculously thin, even for me. At 5'11", I looked ghastly, but that was my natural size, 10.5 stones. Since then, in 30 years, I put on nearly 3 stones. So to 13, just over 13 stones. And I'd said, I want to get down to 11 stones. I want to lose 2 stones. I never want to get back to 10.5, but I want to lose 2 stones, which is 28 pounds, which is about 10 kilos in new money. So, but over the years, I have struggled to commit to exercise. I join a gym and I go 5 days a week for 3 weeks and go, oh, I'm loving this, I'm on the treadmill and doing the weights and having a sauna and yeah, I feel great. And something will happen that breaks the routine. I'll have a night out and then not feel like it the next day, and that will be it. I know in my heart I will never go back to the gym again until the next time it gets to a crisis point and I have to do something about it. I did 10 years ago, I did a triathlon, and I trained and did the triathlon, and then nothing, it stopped. I'd reached the goal of doing the triathlon and that was it. It then stopped. There was no reason to carry on. Fitness for its own sake wasn't enough of a reason. So this time, and this was just before Christmas, so this was nearly a year ago, say, it was last October, last September, it's my son's birthday. It was last September and I had 2 months, I said, to lose 10 kilos or 2 stones. How am I going to do it? And I said, well, I know myself that I can't commit to exercise, but that's quite handy because I know that exercise in itself is not how you lose weight. Exercise is how you get fit. We can come to that in a bit, but exercise is how you get fit. What you put in is how you lose weight. You can argue with me all you like, but that is the fact. You could run for an hour. If you run for an hour and you feel absolutely exhausted, you'll probably burn off the same calories as you'd find in one sandwich. It's not even a meal. Go to the gym, look at the calories you're burning off on the treadmill. You might get to 100, 150, 200 calories. That's nothing. Look at the calories in a latte, in a cup of coffee. It doesn't balance out. So Exercise makes you feel better. That gives you endorphins. That gives you, mentally, it makes you feel great. I'm not saying not to exercise, but if you want to lose weight, don't focus on the exercise. Focus on what you're putting in. So with that in mind, for me, the two things that I'd realized, one was I was drinking too much, and two, I had a problem with sugar. I go for these wellness checks every year, MOT if you like, blood pressure, BMI, resting heart rate, visceral fat, all of these things. And then they talk about lifestyle and things and alcohol intake. And I'll be very honest, because I know exactly how much alcohol I take, and it's been the same for 30 years. I've always done the same routine. That Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I would have bottle of wine, bottle of wine, bottle of wine. So 3 bottles of wine every weekend, 1 bottle of well, it's a routine that's gone, it's like clockwork. So that's 9 units a bottle, 9 units of alcohol a bottle, and that's 27 units. So I know exactly. And usually when you go to the doctor says, how much do you drink? They would usually double it because they know you're not being honest. I was being absolutely honest and saying, I drink 27 units of alcohol. And the clinician would say, well, that used to be considered all right when the limit was, whatever it was, 24. But we now say 14 units of alcohol is your limit for a man on a weekly basis. So you are drinking double the amount of recommended amount of alcohol. And I said, I know, but come on. I mean, you've got to have some pleasures. And I would make excuses. Yeah, but I don't drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 4 days a week off and only 3 days on. And those 3 days, a bottle of wine each. Now, come on. I mean, what's the harm? You make excuses. You tell yourself it's fine. You think that those days off. And cut to the chase, it was causing a problem. It was causing a real problem because in a bottle of wine, is a roughly, and these are everything's varied. I'm doing averages here. A bottle of wine is about 750 calories. So simple maths. 3 bottles of wine is 2,250 calories of extra calorie intake in a week, every week. Now, as an average man, you will burn 2,000 to 2,200 calories a day just by living. So those 3 bottles of wine a week was giving me an extra day's worth of calories every week. So first thing was cut the alcohol. Now, because I am a compulsive person and an impulsive person, if you phoned me up right now and said, do you fancy going to the pub? Do you fancy getting a pint? I would say, yeah, sure, why not? I would not think about it for weeks and weeks, and somebody phones up and says, do you fancy doing X? Do you want to go hill walking? Yeah. Do you want to go for a bike ride? Yeah. Do you want to go camping? Yeah, why not? Do you want to go to the pub? Yeah, sure. Do you want a massive meal that you didn't need? Yeah, why not? I am impulsive and very suggestible. So I know that I can't say, or some people will go down and say, well, I only have 1 glass of wine, and I can't do 1 glass of wine. I can't do 1 of anything. I can't do 1 glass of wine. I can't do 1 biscuit. I can't do 1 chocolate. I can't do 1 sweet out of the packet. If I start and I get the taste for it, I finish the bottle, I finish the bag, I finish the packet, whatever it is. I have to, that is a character trait, a character flaw, if you like, but at least I recognize it. So for me, it has to be days on or days off. If I'm having a day on, that's when I can have a bottle of wine. Simple as that. It's easier that way. And it's easier to have days of complete abstinence than it is to pretend that I can just have 1. So I'm learning all the time. This is where my excess calories are coming from. So cut down the alcohol. The next thing was sugar. As I've said, very impulsive, a very compulsive eater. Don't think about food, don't think about sweets, don't think about biscuits. You like a biscuit? Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's lovely. Eat the packet. So don't have one. Not having the first one is the key. Well, that sounds obvious, but it's the key. So the point is, if you recognize these traits in your own makeup, that you can't just have one, that you can't just have a glass of wine, you can't have one biscuit, that you know if you have one, that you're going to have 5, you need to build this into your day and say to yourself, you know, I fancy a biscuit. And don't do completely without, but just realize that if you have one, you're going to have 5. So you have to factor that in. Something else has to give. You can't have a 5 biscuit day or a 5 glass of wine day and assume that you're not going to put on weight. That's going to pay a negative dividend later on. So you have to factor that in. You have to say to yourself, well, okay, if I have a biscuit now, I know I'm going to have 5 and that's got to be it for the week, because otherwise I'm going to tip myself over my calorie limit for the week. It's this type of thing. Look at where your calories are coming from. Now, the secret sauce for me was alcohol, sugar, and snacks. So and then carbs, but then we'll put the carbs to one side. Alcohol. So have days off. Decide, and this is the beauty of it. Deciding when let's say you just have one drinking day a week. So you only buy one bottle of wine in. So if you want any more than that, you're going to have to go out of your way. You're going to have to go to the shop, go to the supermarket. And usually, for me, the fact I would have to go out to the shop would be enough to put me off wanting to do it. If we don't have it in the house, I can't be bothered. Oh, a bottle of wine there. All right, glass of wine. Thank you very much. If it's not there, the chances are I'm not going to be bothered to go out to the shop and get one. So putting temptation away is a big part of this. But so stopping the alcohol and deciding which day. I said I'll have one drinking day a week where I'll have a bottle of wine, knowing that I can't have one glass. I'd love to just be able to have one glass and enjoy it, but I know I can't. One drinking day a week where I'm going to have that bottle of wine. The bottle of wine sits in the fridge. Friday night. Do I want that bottle of wine tonight? I could. I think it would just be for the sake of having it. Maybe I'd appreciate it more tomorrow. I'll tell you what, I'll leave it tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, Sunday, I'd long since realised that drinking on a Sunday night was just fooling myself. Drinking on a Sunday night, you're still going to wake up on the Monday morning not feeling fresh, not feeling revived. You're not starting the week off in a positive way. So let's just start off by saying an end to Sunday night drinking. That's just a positive move, full stop. So it's either Friday night or Saturday night. And then it becomes a conscious choice. Am I going to drink Friday night or Saturday night? Friday night comes around. Sometimes you have a horrific week at work and you go, I just want to sit down with a movie and a bottle of wine and relax. And yes, that bottle of wine feels like medicine and you fully appreciate it. And at the end of it, you say, do you know what? I actually feel like I needed that. Other times, it will just be a robotic bottle of wine. It's Friday night, open, pour, drink, without even thinking about if you actually want it. So you start asking the question, do I really want this to be my wine night? Actually, there's a football match on tomorrow night, or the Olympics are on tomorrow. I think I'd rather sit with tomorrow. I'd rather have it tomorrow, actually. And you're making a conscious choice, tonight or tomorrow. And then tomorrow night comes around, and you may not even feel like it then. You go, all right, that's okay. It'll still be there next week. And then all of a sudden, the notion, the urge to have that wine, you're breaking out of the cycle of having that wine. And bear in mind, this for me was a habit that was 30 years in the making. And yet I was able with that little bit of conscious thought to break the habit, break the cycle. And that in itself, if you think of each day being a 2,000 calorie day, with that one move, I'm almost saving a full day's worth of calories every week. Now that's a great start. So the next thing was about snacking and saying, okay, I've heard about intermittent fasting and how giving your body long rests in between food is beneficial. So I thought, well, why don't we start off and give this a go? I'd have my evening meal at 6 o'clock and then I'd have nothing until breakfast the next day. And don't get me wrong, that evening meal would usually be a large home-cooked meal. It could be pizza, spaghetti bolognese, curry, toad in the hole, stroganoff, biryani, whatever. These are firm family favourites. That they are big plates, big portions, and they are in no way healthy specifically or diet based. They are just nutritious, hearty, home-cooked food. So you'd have that and then a yogurt or something afterwards, and then that would be it. But from 6 o'clock or 6:30 until breakfast the next day, there'd be nothing. And that evening would just be water and green tea. I've drunk green tea for years, that's not a problem. So water and green tea all throughout the evening. You feel full, you feel hydrated, and once you're out of the mindset of snacking in the evening, of just grabbing a biscuit, just grabbing a cake, just grabbing, oh, somebody got these in, they'll go off. Oh, those croissants that somebody brought in today. Yeah, well, if I don't have one, it'll go stale, and that would just be a waste. So, and you make these excuses for why you should eat these snacks. Once you flip that and get into the mindset of, I don't eat after 6 o'clock. That's it. It's like you're seeing no entry signs, but you're putting up the no entry signs on the food. I just don't do that. I don't eat that at this time of night. And you detach yourself from it. As I said before, the best thing to do is not to have the temptation there in the first place, because the chances then of you actually going out and buying it are very small. However, don't eat after 6 o'clock or after 6:30 or whenever your evening meal is, doesn't matter. So you eat your breakfast at 8 o'clock the next morning, and you basically have a 10-hour eating window and a 14-hour fasting window. That's how it starts. And you just say, okay, nothing in between. And bear in mind, of that fasting window, about 8 hours should be sleeping anyway, so it's hardly going to be a big stress. So you start off with that, and then the next move is to try and cut out sugar within the day, because what I found was eating sugary breakfasts, eating sugary snacks, a donut, a croissant, a pain au chocolat, whatever, these sort of pastries. Eating sugary snacks was making me hungrier sooner. Now this for me was the secret to the whole thing, was in sugar. As a child of the 70s, we didn't grow up on sugar. Sugar was a treat. A small packet of sweets was a treat for a Friday after school. So my realization was that sugar was making me hungrier sooner. And this, I think, is where treating sugar as an addiction is where it comes in, because the sensation that you get, you feel like you see a drug user needing a fix. You start to feel shaky and weak, and you can't concentrate, and you think, oh God, I'm 11 o'clock in the morning. I just need something. I need something, a little snack. I've got low blood sugar. I feel I've got low blood sugar. And the reason you got low blood sugar is you had a sugar spike first thing, and then a crash. And it's that crash that's making you feel weak, lethargic, shaky, in need of something. Once you get rid of that sugar from your daily routine and from your habits, everything else falls into line. So your sugar in the morning, so your breakfast then becomes, make your breakfast eggs instead of sugar, eggs and toast. We'll talk about the carbs from the toast later on, but eggs on toast, much better than even oats, oatmeal, porridge, cereals. Again, breakfast is the most important meal of the day was a fallacy created by the Kellogg Breakfast Company. It doesn't take a genius to work out. For a marketing campaign for a breakfast cereal would be to tell people that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But we've had that message for the last 100 years, and now we all believe it. It's absolute rubbish. You don't need your breakfast. Anyway, that's another thing. So the goal then is to increase the fasting window and shrink the eating window. Now, for me, I said I wanted to get to 1 meal a day. A lot of people can't do 1 meal a day because of the lifestyle that they have, because of the amount of energy that they're using in a day. Jobs that are simply burning up a lot more energy that they need to replace. And I get that. It's not true. Physiologically, it's not true that just being on your feet all day isn't burning up significantly more calories than sitting at a desk. But I get it. There's a feeling of a need to eat. But the point is to make that eating window as small as you can and get used to just not eating for the majority of the day. If you can get that to a 4-hour window of skipping breakfast or just having a cup of coffee for your breakfast, basically skipping breakfast, cup of tea, cup of coffee first thing in the morning and going out, and then you will find very quickly that you are not craving anything at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You think that's strange. But then lunchtime you think, yeah, I could go a sandwich. So you have a sandwich, you might have a snack mid-afternoon, and then you have your evening meal. And you leave your lunch until 2 o'clock. You go 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. That's your 4-hour eating window. And magically, you've just gone 20 hours without eating. That 20 hours of not eating, I'm not going to go into the physiology of it because I'm not qualified. However, what I discovered was that when you eat, you're not burning. When you're eating, you're not burning fat. It's all to do with insulin. When you take on food, your insulin spikes to deal with the sugar that you've just taken in. And when your insulin spikes, you are not burning body fat. You are only burning body fat when your insulin is low. So if you are constantly eating and grazing, then your insulin is constantly spiking and you are not burning body fat. That's my understanding of the science. But also, you're not taking in as many calories. So on a daily basis, you are working at a calorie deficit. So you might take in, let's say, 1,700 calories, and you're burning 2,200 calories a day. That's 500 calories you're burning off every day. So instead of burning off 2,000 and taking in 2,500 and having a calorie surplus every day, you're at a calorie deficit where you are on the right trajectory. Now, what this will do is over a period of time, you will see your weight reducing. Now, what you'll also find is that the first few weeks will look amazing. You'll lose the easy pounds. You'll lose stored water, you'll lose stomach contents, you'll start to lose visceral fat. And you get that bonus, that you get that endorphin rush of, oh my God, I've just looked at the scales and I've lost 2 pounds this week. That feels fantastic. And yes, it does. It feels amazing. It's very encouraging, but don't expect to lose the same every week. Just get to the point where you're on a daily calorie deficit, and that's the best place you can be. The other point about being on intermittent fasting or having a small eating window is your sleep improves, your energy levels improve, your concentration improves, because you are not suffering these sugar spikes, the energy that you get, the buzz you get from the sugar, and then the crash when the sugar leaves your system and you're starting to feel lethargic. You get a constant level of energy. And I'm now down to 1 meal a day. So I have a 23-hour fasting window and a 1-hour eating window. And my energy is constant throughout the day. It is now 11 o'clock. I have not eaten since it's 11 a.m. I've not eaten since 6 o'clock last night. I feel fantastic. I feel ready to go, energetic, and I don't feel the need to eat. Now, what you do find, and this, I really enjoy it actually, I have to say, you get to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if you're on 1 meal a day, you become aware of the sensation of an empty stomach. But normally that sensation of an empty stomach is your trigger to eat something. But you go, this is weird. I've got the sensation of an empty stomach. I feel there's nothing there. And yet, I feel as though I don't need to eat for another day. I feel as though I've got the energy to keep me going, keep me going, keep me going. And there will be days when you think, oh God, it's time to eat. I haven't eaten for 24 hours. I better eat. You're not thinking about food. This is when you get, it will take about 10 days to 2 weeks to get into this cycle. Until then, it feels like it feels hard going because your body needs to get used to the new regime. But stick with it. Once you get into it, you think you've found the secret sauce, because you think, I don't need to snack. I don't need to nip out of the office and get a sandwich. I don't need to eat something that's overpriced and not nutritious. You just don't. Like I say, some people feel or mentally can't tune into the 1 meal a day, but the smaller the eating window, the better. And the easier it is to then survive at a calorie deficit. So my point is this: when we talk about fitness and weight loss, they are two completely separate things. And you will see people, and I take my hat off to them, the people who have put on a lot of weight through poor lifestyle choices, who might be 300 pounds plus, and they have issues, health issues that kickstart the need for radical weight loss. And the first thing you see is it's the rope thing. They're like this in the gym with the ropes, and then they're pulling a tire, and they're on the treadmill and they're pumping the weights. Don't get me wrong, this is fantastic. It's great for cardio. It's going to build the heart. The heart's a muscle, it needs to get exercised, and this is going to pay long-term benefits. Cardiovascular health is very important. But what you're seeing, that person making all this effort, you think that they're burning off the fat. They are burning off the foam on the latte. It's what they're putting into their body that's burning off the actual latte. You see what I'm saying? It's not. All of that looks really good for a social media video. But if you work out what's actually causing the weight loss, and I think, I genuinely believe that seeing somebody else put that level of effort in, and you see these time-lapse videos of weight loss, 300 pounds, boof, 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 280 pounds, boof, 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 250 pounds. And you think, this is fantastic for you, but you've obviously laser focused on that gym. It looks like you spend 8 hours a day, every day in the gym, and fair play to you, you've done amazing. But I couldn't do that. And it's this that puts people off. Rather than realizing that you can be completely sedentary, you can still be a couch potato and lose the weight. It's not going to get you fit. It's not going to get you healthy. Weight loss in itself is, if you are overweight, weight loss is always going to be a beneficial thing, but it's not going to help your cardiovascular weight. So there's two sides to it. Losing the weight in the first place makes you feel great. It probably makes you feel like you want to go out for a walk, then go out for a jog, then go out for a run, then push yourself. I've got this great new body now. What can I do with it? And you want to show it off. You might want to build some of that untoned muscle into actual muscle because you already feel good. You already feel great at having lost the weight, and trousers that you haven't worn for years now fit you, and you look in the mirror and you look great. And what's the best way to enhance that? Well, build a bit of muscle, take on some protein, build some muscle, supplements. You start to build the muscle. That's entirely separate. I'm not decrying that in the slightest, but what I'm saying is, as somebody who lost 2 stones in 2 months with no exercise whatsoever, I want to point out that fitness and weight loss are completely separate. Related, but completely separate. You do not need to be one of these people with the heavy rope training to lose the weight. It will benefit you, but it's not the be all and end all. The be all and end all is being in a calorie deficit. Being in a calorie deficit starts with cutting down or quitting alcohol, cutting down or quitting sugar, and taking in fewer calories than you need on a daily basis. So that is my introduction to weight loss. I can go into much more detail. If you have thoughts, comments, opinions on this issue, please share them. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any queries, let me know your thoughts on health, lifestyle, fitness. Any questions you have, let me know. If you want to follow along, please drop a follow. I'm mainly to be found talking about tying ties and lifestyle things, but occasionally I will do health and well-being tips as well. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I should just shut up and stick to tying ties and leave the health advice to the professionals, or if you're quite enjoying an ordinary person talking about this type of thing. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you next time. Take care.